These fern canes are my new favorite. Here it is with a dark green background, so I sliced it and placed it on a sheet of the same color as the background. In this video, I'm going to teach it in translucent. Oh, that's the first step. So this is the easier way to do it, just those ones on the right. I actually am crazy and did the fractal thing and did a whole nother set. You'll see what I mean. Okay, so here are the translucent. The choice, like always, is to do light on dark or dark on light. So there's a solid color, light translucent, and then dark. And there is a medium one that actually turned out beautiful, but it's a dark on light that I end up using. And then I can put the light on top of that cane, but because of the layering, it works. So I'm going to start with that light, very light green. It was white with just a tiny bit of cadmium yellow and ultramarine blue. So the first thing is to create this shape. That's half of the leaf. See how it's pointed on both ends. And a thick sheet of Primo white translucent. This is a technique you will have seen several times. You can refer to the 3 skills to master video. This is that technique where I pull the translucent down into the color so that part of the background is already set. Now here I've done a lot more than is necessary. Honestly, like 4 or 5 would be sufficient. And then fill in the spaces with a triangle cane. Remember that triangle fill cane, which is very important and useful for everything. So this is what it looks like. And now I'm going to try to push it together. Again, quite a bit fewer indentations would have worked as well. Make sure the top and bottom are flat as you reduce. Cut it in half. Cut it in half, place the halves together. Just like that, it makes a nice addition to a bouquet. Now at this point I could turn it into a rectangle now, or I can fill in the background later. This is the tapering. I've cut it here into 8 sections, and then this little guy, it's half the size. Look at the difference in size, huge difference in size there. And then I stack these up, and I will be cutting it in half. So what I meant by a rectangle is, see how it needs to be filled in every single one of those triangles now? And it's slightly at an angle. To further make that an angle, I will press it and smooth one side in one direction, the other side in the other direction. That adds to the the slight angle that the fern's leaves will be. They're not a strong angle. See how they go out sideways, but they slightly go up. Now I'll need the stem in the middle. So remember to have enough color at the beginning for the stem in the middle. And then I will add that little guy at the top. Pull the sides together. One way to reduce that is to twist, pull, bend. Now this is the second step, but it can be repeated. All of that can be repeated. This time, instead of filling in the triangles after the fact, I'm going to go ahead and form it into a rectangle so that I don't have to do all of that filling in later. So either way, it's fine. Once again with a tapering, big to small. Again, 8 sections, although at any stage you can vary the number of sections. I've done 8 sections with one little tiny one for the top center. See how, at this point, it's crazy. Like, that is so many steps. It's a really complex fern, but I think it's a lot of fun and very beautiful and delicate. Same thing about the way I'm smoothing those sides into the direction I want them to go. Same thing, cut it in half, add a very thin stem in the middle. I can't overstate how thin that needs to be in the center. Fill it with the top, reduce it, and there's my fern. You can change its shape a little if you'd like. Here's the darker fern, and I'm going to show you how tricky it is to slice that thin. There is a long list of tips for this at the end of the PDF. See how I'm able to spread that out very delicately without tearing it. That's extremely thin. Again, this is mostly necessary with the translucent. The translucent is more tricky, but you could do it with solid colors. There it is, layered on white. I don't often layer it on white, but this pattern turns out quite beautifully as long as all that white is covered in some form of translucent.